Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm just mucking around with a piece of paper that I don't like that much. It's quite pretty, but it's probably a bit too pretty for what I want to do with it. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to grunge it up a bit. I'm starting by putting down some Distress Oxide spray in ground espresso. Let's grab that bottle and show you. Okay, and I've just sprayed some things on there. It's a bit patchy, but I think it works okay. So the next thing that I'm going to do is, well, I guess the alternatives to doing something like that would be to take some Distress ink or Distress Oxide and actually make a mixture and dip it in. You could also use tea or coffee. So make a mixture of tea or coffee and use it to put some brown onto the page. I like the way the spray splatter has worked. It's, there's a bit of a patch here, but this is just the beginning. So I'm going to do a few more things to it. The next thing I'm going to use is some stamps. Now I'm not going to use a stamp block or anything with these. These are some of my Tim Holtz stamps. I'm just going to put some ink on here. And I'm just using an archival ink in ground espresso. And I'm not going to put the whole thing on here, so I'm just going to kind of like just randomly stamp some little bits of it, so almost bending the stamp and just putting some bits around the paper. Put some up here, and then I will do that again because that's quite cool. And I'll put some bits up here as well, so I'm just bending it up and putting portions of the stamp on just to create a background texture rather than actually a stamped image. And just randomly, I think that's fine. I wanted to put a couple more on as well. I've got this one here, it says 15 cents. With this one, I think I'll stamp all of it on, just randomly around the place. I'm not re-inking, so I'm getting that ghost image down here. And even more of a ghost image there. I'd say that I need 3 of the darker images. Put one down here, one up in this corner, and one down here. Yeah, I think that's enough actually. I've got quite dark images there. And I did pull out a couple more, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do this little Tinkerman Sons one. So I'm just really trying to create some backgrounds with these stamps so that it, makes the page a bit more grungy, which is more suited to my particular style, and gives it some character at the same time. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I was going to do some stenciling. I don't know, yeah, I'll still do some stenciling. Let me just grab some stencils. Or maybe this big one. Now put this over the top. I'm going to use the Distress ink and my applicator, and I'm not going to do the whole thing again. I'm just going to pick some pieces and run the applicator around rather than doing the whole thing. I'm kind of looking for spots where it looks a bit bare. And let's see. Yep, so it's very, very subtle. You can see that, which is what I want it to be. You can see here, through here, up here. I might put some down here where it's looking a bit bare. Obviously, if you use a darker ink, then you're going to get a darker look. See how I've done that? And then maybe up here I need a little bit as well. Okay, I think that's fine. And then, haven't finished yet, I want to put some more down. So what I want to put down now is I've got some paper. So it's just a sheet from a pattern, and I thought that I would put some of it down just to create a bit more interest. The other thing I'm going to do, because it's here and I can do it, is I'll just tear that off. I want to cover these, you know, some of these blocks where it's really blobby, really blobby, and put this down. I'm just going to position some stuff around and see what I get. Now, yes, I'm covering up some of the pieces that I've already done, but that's okay. I think that that's not a problem for me to do that. You have to embrace it. Now, I do want some down on here, but I might leave that because it's going to be a bit too much if I do that as well. I'll turn this over and put this one down here, and then I might just get one more piece to put. Okay, and I'm going to put this one down here like this. I don't know, that looks a bit funny. I'm not going to do that at all. Let me try again. I'll get these instructions, and it says read instructions, and I'll put this one in here like that. And let me just put those down. I'm just using some matte medium to put these down. I haven't actually used this before. It might not even be open. Let me check. Oh no, that's why it's not coming out. It's a new bottle. I haven't even opened it. Okay. Note to self, open the bottle up. Take the cover off before you try and use it. Now, of course, I have to fight the bottle of matte medium to get it opened. Okay. Okay, here it comes. Promise. Okay, there you go. Got it. Oh, it's got like a skin over it. It's because it's been sitting there for a little while. I bought it thinking I was running out, and of course then the matte medium just seemed to go on and on forever. Okay, we'll put that. Right, now let's take two. I will put some matte medium down so that I can stick these down. And then I'll just use my palette knife, run across here, and here. I'm just going to rip this, make it a bit more random. That's better. It's a bit straight for me there. And I'll put a little bit on top too so that it seals it. It will also mean that it will change its colour a little bit. Even when it's dry, it's going to be, you know, blend in a bit more. You can see here it's blending into the background of the paper, and then a little bit up here too. And I also am going to put a bit more down. So you could do all or any of these techniques to make your scrapbooking paper into something that you want to use. So if you've got old scrapbooking paper and you're thinking, well, I'm never going to use that, I think I'll get rid of it, I would suggest you take 30 minutes and play around and see if you can make it to a point where you actually like it again and you can use it in your journal. Now the other thing I wanted to put down is I've got some tissue also from a pattern, but it could be any tissue. Oh, that's for the placket at the front of the shirt, but I'm about to rip that up and just put it into a sort of random thing like this. Now, where am I going to put this one? Maybe here. Yep, I think I'll put it there. As I cover this up with paper, you will still see, particularly with the tissue, you will see the images coming through from the underneath because the tissue is transparent, and when you use the matte medium, not glue, but when you use matte medium, it makes the tissue more transparent. You won't get this same effect if you just glue the tissue down. You use the matte medium on the bottom and on the top as well, and you can see there that it just looks like black lines now. I can see it's probably not coming up on camera. It is a little bit that it's, you know, a bit browner here. But when I look at the image in the camera that I can see on my computer, you can see these lines really strongly coming through. Now I'm going to do a little bit more. There's no point having one piece, you need more than one piece. I like this little bit here, how it's kind of just got this little tail on it. And I'm probably going to put it down maybe here. Actually, I'll put it across in this piece that I'm not in love with, this big blob down here. I'll just put some across here. And this will dry, so even if you don't put the tissue over the top, see how I've got glue here but I don't have the tissue or the matte medium here, it will still dry and you can use the paper, it won't affect it at all. What it will do, because it's liquid, it will react with the distress ink, because when you apply liquid to distress ink, it's reactive and it remains reactive. So if you don't like that, you'll need to work on using another ink underneath. I like that, so it doesn't bother me. And then this one I think I'll put down here. Put this piece here and overlap it there. Just need a little bit more. Just to get underneath here. You don't have to use a palette knife to put this down. You can use a brush, use your fingers, use whatever you like. It's just I prefer a palette knife when I'm working with this sort of stuff. Now let me have a look. I've got a lot in the centre here. I think I need to put some up the top, like here. Just looking a little bare up here. And let's get a bit up here. Oh, I need some underneath here. It's really important to get it underneath. You won't get that same effect if it's not underneath and on top. And the tissue almost disappears and you're just left with those the words and the stuff that's on the actual tissue using this particular method. Okay, I think that's fine. All right, so now I just want to go and I need to cut these edges off. Find my scissors. And this one I'm just going to rip off because it's tissue, it will rip off really easily. And I now will just go and cut this into the size of a junk journal. So the junk journal that I'm going to put this in is 8 inches tall and 6 inches wide. So I've cut it at the 8-inch mark. I've got this other piece that I'll be able to cut or use as is in the junk journal, but I might tear this up and use it as an embellishment. I could also do a pocket out of it. That'd be really cool to have a, you know, a couple of pockets. And this one here will just get folded in half so that it becomes a page in the junk journal. And then I'll just burnish that down. There you go. Now when I put that into my journal, you're not going to see that, you know, pink florally thing. You're just going to pick up on the fact that you've got this nice grungy paper. It's a little bit wet at the moment. Once all that dries, it's going to be great. So that's it. That's how I alter paper to use in my junk journal, and I hope you enjoyed that today. This is Deborah. Thanks for joining me. Cheers.